Hello, and welcome to I Hate Talking, a podcast about talking, including etymology, frustrating topics, current events, and other random subjects. I'm Adam.
And I'm Steph. We are married, and we invite you into these discussions with us as we talk about the good and the bad of talking.
We hope you enjoy today's episode. Welcome to episode 116 of I Hate Talking.
Hi, everyone.
So, I suppose we will continue on Toy Story 3.
Yes, we watched it. All right. So, word first, right?
Word first. Perhaps we'll just skim the surface on this one and I'll just go by memory, or maybe we'll look up some of the stuff. But the word of the episode is the.
The. T-H-E.
That's correct. T-H-E.
Okay.
So there's an interesting thing that can happen in the English language. And again, this is all going off memory. So I'll have to either fact check myself or you, our listener, can fact check me. But there are sometimes instances in English phraseology where the is not an article.
Okay. Elaborate.
So typically the or the word a or an will refer to a noun within a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So like the podcast is amazing. Mm-hmm. That refers to the podcast, and amazing describes what it is.
Yes.
But there are other instances in the English language where there's typically more of a phrase. And an example that comes to mind is like, the bigger they are, the harder they will fall.
Okay.
So the does not refer to...
It's not an article?
It's not referring to a noun.
It's still an article. Well, now I'm pulling it back. Decades old English here. Okay. The bigger they are.
Yep.
The is...
The harder they will fall.
I know, but that phrase, the bigger.
The bigger, yep.
The is the subject, I guess, right?
No, it's they. The bigger they are.
The bigger they... Oh, I guess that. Yeah, you're right. The bigger the... Because you don't say the bigger they are. The bigger they are. That's the subject. They.
They,
okay.
Yes. Which is a
so
pronoun.
Still an article. The... Keep going. I'm lost. I don't want to lose other people, so keep going.
So it's actually a conditional statement.
So it doesn't make it an article?
It's not an article.
If it's conditional, it's not an article?
So perhaps, again, going off memory, the etymology is important here, is that in the Old English, maybe Indo-European languages, that there is a word called pa, which is a comparative word, sort of like a modern day if then or if when statement in English. So basically, if you said that in literal Old English or whatever these European roots are, it would be pa bigger they are, pa harder they fall.
Okay.
Where you are comparing or contrasting or in some way having a conditional sentence.
If they're bigger, then they fall.
Yes, that's it. If they are bigger, then they will fall harder. If then. Or if they are bigger, when they fall, they will fall harder.
Right. Which makes sense, right? If you're bigger, say you jump in the water, the bigger you are, essentially, typically, the bigger splash you're going to make. The harder the fall, the bigger the splat will be.
Right. Even in that scenario, the does not refer to an article of the noun. The bigger the splash.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So the reason that this came about as phraseology in English is because pa and the basically sound the same.
Okay.
So they became used interchangeably and the won out. So basically when you're having these comparative statements or some sort of if then or if when statement, that the does not refer to a particular subject, but is actually comparing two different pieces of that particular phrase.
Yeah, I buy that. And it even just makes sense as you're saying it out loud. If you're bigger, then you fall. Bigger. So, just shortening it, the bigger the fall. I don't think, I buy that. I don't think there's anything nefarious or argumentative about that, right?
I don't think so. It's just an
But
interesting
the word the
historical use of the word the that is not actually the, but is pa.
Is there other times the word the is not an article?
No, it's always these comparative statements, if then, if when, where pa would be interchangeably used, that it's not an article.
So we just took pa and added the instead.
Yes, they were used interchangeably, and the stuck around and pa did not.
Are there other times that pa has been used that you know of in our language?
So, that's an example phrase. Mm-hmm. The bigger they are, the harder they will fall. There's other, I'm sure, example sentences where if you are comparing a condition to a particular outcome, that probably the is not an article, but is actually this pa leftover.
Okay. Interesting. Have now successfully taught 4 children how to read. And so I won't say which one, but you have a 25% chance of guessing. There was one kid who could not read the word the. Specific child who is intelligent, like advanced comparative to siblings, could not get the word the down. THE. I spent hours and trying to train him, and he could read. Anytime he came to the word the, it was like a foreign language. And I don't know what that word did to his brain. I spoke to so many professionals, like seasoned reading trainers, even speech pathologists and OT. We spoke about why his brain does not translate the word the, THE. And finally, one person gave me a suggestion just to write it in a bunch of other words, but write that one multiple times on a paper, put it all around the house, and then give him a Nerf gun, because that's his favorite thing to do at that time. And he had to shoot anytime he read the word the. And we just went around the house for several days and read different words. And if it said the, he'd shoot at it with a Nerf gun. That's the only way we could get in his brain the word the. He could read and all these articles like that, or any other word. The word the, it literally was a foreign language. So I had these flashbacks as you're talking about the word the, and how difficult and a long process that was to train him to where, and I still have no idea why he couldn't read it. But after that Nerf gun week, he finally knows the word the.
Well, there you go. So you didn't have trouble with articles of a or an?
Well, I will say in his justification, he'd always read it as and. But he'd always read and, A-N-D, as and also. The two were the same to his brain. The, he would say and. For years.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, in the English language, articles are sort of not really all that helpful. Like you could say, cup is gray. And you'll get the same concept as the cup is gray.
But if you're reading the sentence, the word the shows up. I mean, proportionately, would I say like 80, 90% of the time a sentence has the word the in it, right? Or am I exaggerating?
I don't know. We can maybe do some offline statistics, but that seems a bit high to me.
I don't know. I think the word the is in a lot of American sentences.
Probably. And maybe that's why it's an issue, is in a lot of Germanic languages, you don't necessarily have an indefinite article, you'll have a definite article. So you'll have actually like a particular number associated with the subject, like one,
Mm-hmm.
like there is one gray cup.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of the gray cup, it's there is one gray cup.
There. But see, I think you were saying there and the. You're using them
Or,
interchangeably.
okay, yes. So to rephrase that then, it would be the gray cup in English versus one gray cup in Germanic languages.
Right.
So, and Japanese probably has some things where it is either a specific number or an indeterminate number, and those have different descriptions.
Yeah. I don't think they use the word necessarily the, at least in our very limited Japanese learning.
Well, I've been reflecting on this with the comparative statements, and I think you could actually use the as a comparative if-when statement, regardless of a particular phrase. But if you're using it in a way that is a comparative statement or some sort of conditional statement, that it works all the time. So you could say, the more alive a toy is, the more likely they are to be part of Toy Story.
Oh, the more alive they are, the more likely they are part of Toy Story.
Right. That is not an article that refers to any particular subject.
Continue on to disagree with you. Some of them that are not alive, quote unquote, were still alive in the story, right?
Well, I think it goes to the fact that whatever the kid or kids imagine and whatever particular scenarios they put these toys in is sort of the same level of liveliness as well as sort of cognition as it comes about in Toy Story 3. So for all our listeners, spoiler alerts ahead, Toy Story 3. If you haven't watched it by now,
stop and watch it. And then listen.
And then listen. You've had plenty of time. Though I watched the previews, or not necessarily previews, but like read the sort of synopsis of Toy Story 4, and I don't think I've ever watched it.
Okay, so
no one give me any Toy Story 4 spoilers.
No spoilers. I fully agree. I do not know if I've watched 4. I know there's Forky. I know the character.
Right, because they were like part of a McDonald's Happy Meal or something at the time.
I don't even know. I don't think I've watched 4 before. Our children never watched 3.
Well, some of them were sort of scared of it. It's a sort of a dark movie.
It was a pretty traumatic night when we watched it the other day. Yeah.
Which, I mean, happy. Disney was in line with doing it that way because it was like, 10 years after the first one came out? So, like, the little kids that watched this would have been teenagers, essentially. So they were ready for the dark thematic elements of Toy Story 3.
I had definitely watched 3, but it had been decades. Our kids all admitted that they had apparently not watched it. Had you watched it until this week?
Yeah, I had watched it before, but I think it was pre-kids.
Yeah, we definitely didn't have kids. Okay.
So,
and again, I don't think any of us have watched 4.
It's quite possible.
That's crazy. It just kind of missed us because when it came out, we had kids, but they were really little. They were into Cars.
Cars.
Oh, man. That was our life.
When did Cars come out compared to Toy Story 4? Because, yes, they were definitely more into Cars, Cars 2, Cars 3, Mater's Tall Tales, all the things that go along with that. Lightning McQueen. Ka-chow. I think we've referred to Lightning McQueen many times on this podcast before.
Yeah. That will 100% be I feel like yours and my childhood memory of like raising kids was Lightning McQueen. Yeah, we would have been in that spot for us personally that kind of didn't overlap. So Cars 1, which, man, I still have that theme memorized word for word, was 06. Now, we did not have kids in 06. Cars 2 was 11. Again, we didn't have kids in 11. But Cars 3 was in 17. We saw Cars 3 in the theaters with 2 of our kids. But I remember our one kid speaking the entire time. Do you remember he'd be like, Lightning, "Hi, Mater!" Like he was so happy, like as if they were talking to him and friends.
Yep.
It may have been their first movie ever, too, right?
Could be.
So Cars 3, they saw in theaters. By then, they were very invested. But neither of them were born in Cars 1 or 2.
I see.
So we
So
watched
Cars 1,
it.
2006.
Yes.
When did Toy Story 4 come out?
Toy Story 3, the one we just watched, came out in 10. And again, we didn't have any kids then. But we were married, which makes sense why we don't know it very well.
I guess so.
I wasn't even a nanny by then. That's why it's very vague. Now, Toy Story 4 came out in 19. So we did have 3 kids, but I don't think they were in the phase of Toy Story. They weren't into it. They were fully into Cars. Everything we did at that age was Cars themed. So I think we just didn't watch it.
I guess not.
And it just missed us somehow.
Interesting.
Because I am pretty certain that we haven't watched it. And I was shocked at how much our kids, and I think they were shocked too, that they didn't know Toy Story 3. They knew 1 and 2. And 3 was pretty, like you said, dark.
Yeah, dark. That's probably true. But that 2019 timeline would have lined up with when they were eating Happy Meals, so that's why they would have known Forky. Because I think Forky was like a Happy Meal toy.
So even if we didn't watch it, they would have been old enough to order a Happy Meal.
Or request one, and we paid for it. Yes.
Right.
They did not order it.
Right.
They did not go on their McDonald's app and put in Happy Meal with Forky the toy. So the Toy Story 3 movie, going back to the particular cognition or aliveness, as it were, of various toys, seems to be based on how much cognition or aliveness the child ascribes to said toy during their particular playtime. Because I'm specifically thinking of Big Baby, where Big Baby cannot talk, but does seem to have some basic level of cognition and self-awareness. Mm-hmm. But that is because the child, and probably all children alike, treat Big Baby as a baby. So Baby can only function as a baby.
Okay, so never matured over.
There's no maturation. It's just the fact that the child imagined the baby only having the cognition and self-awareness of a baby.
Okay, so theoretically, you're arguing that this baby doll in the story, this one girl had Big Baby.
Daisy, right?
Daisy. Treated it like a baby. So it never matured or never developed more cognition than that. But if somebody also had that baby and in their imagination it did mature, that baby doll would be more advanced?
Possibly. The general internet fan theory is that like the toy has a net average of whatever the children imagine it to be. Mm-hmm. So like on average, all children that played with a Big Baby doll imagined it net average as a baby.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you'd have to see like if there were different actual individual toys that were played with by different children that have different levels of self-awareness and cognition.
Right. That'd be a whole different level of seeing the same.
Right. And it goes back to the fact that it probably is sort of like this net average magic from child's imagination, because toys within packaging have self-awareness and cognition when they have never been played with.
Right. Yeah, so that'd be the question, right? Because the only examples we have, we're so into this, but the only examples we have in Toy Story of the same toy is when it hasn't been played with, right? So
when it has been played with?
Hasn't. So like Buzz and the unpackaged.
Yeah, Buzz was already at least cognitively able to understand his surroundings when he is unboxed.
What about...
But he was not self-aware.
So Barbies, right? I think this is the most I can relate to. And two, there's a bunch of Barbies in that aisle. And in the nighttime, they'd have like Barbie parties.
Correct.
And they were just like party people. They weren't like aware that they were dolls or whatnot. And then you go to 3, and there's Barbie and Ken. And they meet. And Ken's very advanced. And like befriends Barbie, and they have this romance and yada yada, right? So how does that play into your theory?
Yeah, I
And
think
two,
it still supports it because Ken and Barbie and all the different Barbies have the same general level of cognition. It's not like one, and they were also probably never actually played with for the toy store Barbies. They were still for sale.
right? That's why they were just partying at night.
Right. So Big Baby and all Big Baby dolls assume the net average magic from the children that imagine them only as babies.
Okay.
And if there was maybe one child that imagined them as like a fully functioning cognitive child versus the 999 children that imagine them as a baby, that they'll get like a tiny boost of cognition, but at the end of the day, net average, they are still a big baby.
Okay. Yeah, I totally buy that. Is that because the kids' cognition, or is that just how they are created and developed?
That's how the children are imagining them to behave. And
Is
this
it
is the same
because-
thing that we talked about last time with Bullseye, that he cannot speak or
Because it's
have,
a horse.
because all the children on average imagine him only as a horse.
Right. Which is a different thing. A horse that a cowboy rides versus like dinosaur that attacks things.
Right. And could be, again, on net average, some form of cognition where they can speak and interact with other characters.
Okay. Hey,
Same thing for the teddy bear. What's the teddy bear's name? Winslow, Oslo,
no.
something like that. It's a strange name, but it's ends with an O.
Lotso.
Lotso. See, it does end with an O. I was right.
It's his technical term is Lotso Huggin, the bear.
Smells like strawberries.
So so shortened for Lotso.
Right. So Lotso would have been, again, net average imagined as a particular character that has cognition, speech, ability to reason, things like that. And then at some point became self-aware because, like we discussed last time, it still seems like self-awareness is not necessarily imbued by children's imagination, but more of their actual experience as a toy.
Almost utilitarian.
I suppose so. And then a tortilla can become a toy. So we learned that in Toy Story 3 as well.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what? You're right. Because, yeah.
So where
Mr.
is the central nervous system and cognition, could we even say soul, of a toy? Because it was not in the potato.
This is so deep. Well, the potatoes are a good example because Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head can see, right? Mrs. Potato Head can cover her one eye, and she can see where her other eye is located.
Okay, so we've at least established that the eyes do not contain the central nervousness
And somehow they're attached
of a
to
potato.
them. It's not like she could take an eye and put it on Mr. Potato Head. It still belongs to her.
Perhaps we have not actually seen that proven out so far in the Toy Story series.
But
We have
the
not seen a mixed potato person.
a Mr. and Mrs. jumbled up.
The jumbled up. That would be a very, yes.
Which is 100% something that kids do. Because if you have a whole bucket of characters and you maybe put a mustache and then give it a bow and it's really
Right.
funny.
So this goes back to the question, where is the central nervousness of a potato head? Because it's not in the potato. We learned that because they take control over tortilla. It's not the eye because that is like separate
She can
from...
separate the eyes.
Right. It's not like the ear, right? Because from Toy Story 1, Mr. Potato says like, hey, where's my ear? So he has a central nervousness aside from his ear.
So what does Reddit say?
I don't know. I have not asked Reddit.
Because this is...
So it's not eyes. It's not ears. It's probably not the mustache.
It's not the body.
It's not the body, right? That's a tortilla thing.
The tortilla.
Is it? It's not the hat because he can go on without the hat. So it'd either be like the feet or the nose. So perhaps we'll have to do more research on this to see if Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head can function as a cognitive living being in the Toy Story multiverse without any of those particular parts.
Well, as a human, you can cut your feet off and you're still a human as long as you didn't lose like enough blood, right? What happens if you cut your nose and like that whole section of your head off?
Well, didn't somebody do that?
I don't know. An ear? Are you thinking
that's
of the
Picasso
artist?
did an ear. There's some guy that thought he was either like very beautiful or very ugly and cut off his nose.
I'm saying, okay, cut off like
and
the
he still
whole
functioned.
function. Because okay, like there's been times for me, has it ever happened to you where you laugh so hard that like something comes up your nose, like you're drinking, and then like, right, it's connected. Your nose and your mouth are connected.
I mean, I've vomited through my nose as a young child.
Ugh.
No, I've not.
Never. But I have laughed through my nose.
I've not laughed through my nose. I usually don't laugh that very much, so
you don't.
That's probably why.
Everyone listening knows. Obviously, I laugh way too much. Well, is it connected? Like your nose into? Can you live if you cut out whatever? Like your nose, obviously, I chop the tip of my nose off, my nostrils. Okay, I can breathe through my mouth. What about all those inclined stuff? Will that damage something?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose that we could inquire of Sid and his different machinations with like the combinations of toys, because there was a Barbie doll that was fashioned with a fishing rod, and it seems like probably the
legs and fishing rod.
Right. It seems like the legs retain some sort of their cognition from the Barbie doll, and a fishing rod would not be alive in any form or fashion.
So you're saying the legs. If you have legs, you're a cognitive being? That's your stance?
In the world of Toy Story? Maybe. I mean, Slinky refers to this, that his back end actually has its own sort of consciousness.
Okay. So you are pro, you have to have legs to have a...
No, I'm not saying you have to have legs. I'm saying that the legs or like lower extremities of mobility is where a toy's central nervous system is.
Toy. I like that you put toy in there so you don't get in trouble, because you sound very ableist right now. But yes.
I mean, we'll have to maybe rewatch Toy Story 1, 2, 3, and then 4 to see if there's any toys that are cognitively able to process their surroundings that don't have legs.
Okay.
Now there's one. Toy Story 2 is breaking this theory. Isn't like the strong man, doesn't he have like no legs at all?
Strong man. The guy who's like a suction cup to the table?
Is that what his legs are? Is a suction cup?
I think it's a suction cup. We have to look it up. Now, again, if you're talking about Toy Story 4, then you're like, is it Forky the fork? He doesn't have legs.
He has like pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaner legs and...
We're going to have to watch it.
And hands. I don't know.
All right, so you're like referencing all these things.
I just think that the potato head is like a very interesting conundrum. Where is the central nervousness and like quote unquote soul of a potato head? Because it's certainly not in the potato, and it's not in the eye. I'm pretty sure it's not in the ear or the hat.
All right, I would have.
He doesn't always have a mustache.
Mm-hmm.
So this leaves like the nose and the feet. That's it.
I would have fully argued it was the potato itself. But you're right. Since we don't, even when it happened,
We'll have to go back and watch
"Where's
that
his
particular
body?"
scene
Yeah.
and see sort of when his cognition comes alive by when he places a particular body part into the tortilla. That may be an enlightening fact.
Yeah, because I don't know when that happened. We'll have to rewatch it.
His arms are sort of independently able to do things. So it's sort of like,
Yeah, it's able to
what's
grab stuff.
the Addams Family? Sort of like
The hand.
The hand. The hand has a name, right? That was right. It's the thing.
The thing.
Well, no, it's just referred to as thing or thing, T-thing.
Right, because the doesn't count.
Thing, yes. There you go.
So you could call it, what was it? You call it paw?
Pa versus the.
Paw thing.
I guess so.
Crazy.
All right. So if you likewise have more questions and answers from this podcast, you can always let us know in a comment, email, or text message. And perhaps there's other people that have not seen the Toy Story series. And this probably is not a good introduction into the Toy Story universe, but share it nonetheless.
Okay. 1, 2, or 3, rate your favorites.
One
In
is
order.
one is still it's the most organic and like original storyline.
All right.
2 is going to come up as third, I think, because 3 deals with a lot of existential issues and some things on like consciousness in general that I think are interesting.
Yeah, I liked 3 way more than I remembered liking 3.
2, I think it's just like a ripoff of like other movies.
No, but it's memorable.
I mean, it has like a storyline, but there's so much like
it's cheap almost.
it's cheapened by the fact that they're trying to like jam in all these other cultural references to it.
I liked it, but I agree. I think it's cheapened. All right, I'd say 1, 3, 2 so far.
Same.
All right, we'll find out next week.
So, from your friends at I Hate Talking, until next time, remember, it is only through talking that we begin the journey to understanding.